Is there something going on in your head where you just feel like you can't shoot at sometimes?
Nah, I just assumed Gallo was coming over my back, and then Collins moved out, and so I thought we just had a wide open dunk.
Philadelphia 76ers star Ben Simmons did his reputation no favors with one of the worst playoff performances in recent memory. While he played a significant role in Philadelphia's playoff exit, and it is fueling NBA trade rumors, but his value might not be as bad as perceived. So join me as I take you through Ben Simmons' trade value, reportedly still pretty high around the NBA. Number 5. The disappointing postseason for the Sixers. Simmons struggled throughout the 2021 NBA playoffs as the Sixers once again disappointed in the postseason, bowing out in 7 games to the Atlanta Hawks in the second round. According to sources, Philadelphia is seeking an all-star player as part of a Simmons trade package, and GM Daryl Morey is determined to upgrade the roster and push the 76ers into true championship contention. Following the Sixers' 103-96 loss to the Atlanta Hawks in their playoff series, Philadelphia will go into the offseason feeling more insecure than confident after a season in which they entered the playoffs as the number 1 seed. Despite finishing the 2020-21 season as the top seed in the Eastern Conference for the first time in 20 years, and a year in which Joel Embiid finished as the runner-up in MVP voting, the Sixers will enter the offseason knowing their true weakness, the lack of a legitimate second option. Despite a nagging knee injury, Embiid more than did his part in this semifinal playoff series against the Hawks. The 27-year-old averaged 30.4 points, 12.7 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. However, what did not happen is Simmons, Embiid's running mate and former All-Star point guard, stepping up to support him in the Sixers' biggest playoff series during the Embiid-Simmons era. Now, when the moment shone brightest, Simmons shrunk and was nowhere to be found. For the series, the former number 1 overall pick averaged just 9.9 points a game. More importantly, he scored 5 points in Game 7 and took a total of just 4 shots when the team needed him most. Number 4. Whatever happened to Ben? The 24-year-old was named to his 3rd All-Star game while being named to the All-Defensive First Team for the 2nd consecutive year. But his lack of offensive progression hurt the Sixers. Simmons' numbers were down across the board as he took on more of an elite defender role on the team. He was among the league leaders in assists to three-pointers as his ability to get in the paint and then push the pace was a big reason Philadelphia found success on offense. Simmons' best game of the season came on the road against the Utah Jazz when the team was without Embiid due to injury. Understanding he needed to do more, he went off for a career-high 42 points with 12 assists and 9 rebounds in the loss to the Jazz. It was a masterful performance as Simmons was constantly getting to the rim and making it look easy. As for the playoffs, Simmons had a tough time. He averaged 11.9 points with 8.8 assists and 7.9 rebounds in the 12 games. The big number that stands out is the 34.2% from the free throw line. There is a chance Simmons does not return to Philadelphia for the 21-22 season. He is involved in numerous trade rumors, but regardless of who he plays for, he has to overcome his struggles. It takes a lot of effort for any player to get over the mental fatigue that comes with the extended struggles that he has battled. Number 3. Ben's trade value. A blockbuster trade involving Philadelphia's Ben is reportedly a very real possibility, as negotiations have begun with multiple teams already. Sources in the know-how of things claim that the 76ers have opened up trade conversations surrounding Simmons and have engaged with teams. The source is saying that teams that have engaged with the Sixers about Simmons have been met with a high price threshold for the 3-time All-Star. Make no mistake, interest across the league in Simmons does remain high, despite shooting that nightmarish 34.2 from the foul line in the playoffs. Simmons still has immense value and upside to explore. Ben, who turns 25 later in July, is a phenomenal athlete with amazing court vision, passing ability, and defensive versatility that's almost unmatched by anyone else in the NBA right now. The big question up until now is whether a trade suitor would be willing to sacrifice enough assets under the assumption Simmons can improve upon his shortcomings as a player, namely his jump shot. Now, apparently, there's a widespread belief around the league that Simmons' shooting woes are fixable and that he's motivated enough to make those adjustments with hard work in the offseason. All kinds of trade scenarios are flying around about Simmons already. If he winds up realizing his full potential in his prime, Simmons could be a top 5 player in the league very easily. On the other hand, the floor he could very realistically hit may not be worth Philly's high asking price. Number 2. Simmons' agent meets Sixers management. It was reported that Ben Simmons' agent, Rich Paul, met with 76ers management to discuss the All-Star guard's future with the team. Paul, who is the CEO of Clutch Sports, met with Philadelphia President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey and General Manager Elton Brand at the pre-draft combine to evaluate the next steps in Simmons' career. It might seem like the Sixers currently remain committed to keeping Simmons as a central piece of their franchise, though the two sides are expected to continue discussing Simmons' future with the organization ahead of the July 29 NBA draft and August free agency. Simmons and coach Doc Rivers are also believed to be discussing plans of improvement moving forward. Simmons, 24, has 4 years and $147 million left on his contract. Opposing teams are reportedly trying to gauge the Sixers' interest in trade packages, despite Philadelphia's hesitancy to deal Simmons. Some executives say he's good in some areas, but in today's era, shooting is the most important skill. So are teams going to take a chance to build around a guy that's scared to shoot? Number 1. What are some of the potential swaps? Well, after several off seasons were filled up with talks of the Sixers maybe splitting up Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, Philly's front office is finally open for business regarding Simmons this year. Following Simmons' disappointing second-round series against the Hawks, his future in Philly has a large question mark around it. While Sixers President of Operations Daryl Morey will more than likely remain patient with trade talks, as he's in no rush to move on from the 24-year-old guard, it seems it's only a matter of time before Simmons dons a new uniform for the first time in his NBA career as the calls begin to come in. Lately, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been frequently linked to Simmons trade rumors as they reportedly want the veteran guard badly. In a new report, the Wolves are being considered as suitors for Simmons, but they aren't alone. In addition to Minnesota, the Pacers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, even the Toronto Raptors also being considered as a potential suitor. Aside from the Raptors, none of the other teams mentioned above should come off as shocking since they've all been linked to Simmons over the last couple of weeks as the trade rumors heat up. On the other hand, the Sixers are seeking an all-star caliber player in return for Simmons. While a couple of the interested suitors do have that, none necessarily possess an NBA all-star in his prime like Simmons. Say if Simmons goes to Cleveland in return for Kevin Love and a 2022 first-round pick, the Cavs could put Simmons on the perimeter with the likes of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland to form a small ball lineup that's the stuff of nightmares for any defense. On the other hand, it seems like the Timberwolves are only aiming to make it to the NBA playoffs for now, and Simmons could be a great fit for the side and could even work on his game on a team with less pressure on his shoulders. The T-Wolves would thrive if Simmons, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards were all on the team together. Besides, Ben would also improve the team defensively, providing size without having to worry much about being a primary scoring option. The question is whether the Timberwolves can get Ben without killing one of their main trio. In a scenario where the team has no option but to let go of one of their stars, it would likely be Russell, who can be used in a trade. Either way, the Timberwolves should not hold back on a realistic opportunity to go all in on Ben Simmons. More suitors for Ben may emerge over time. As the beginning of the new league year approaches, teams are beginning to plan for the changes. So far, looks like the Sixers haven't received any interest worth truly looking into, but a lot can and will change over the coming days. So what do you think? What do you make of Ben's current value? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure that you subscribe and you like us. I'll see you next time on the channel. Until then, hey, it's goodbye.